What you're going to get from Jeff Sinelli is an entrepreneurial journey of the ups and downs, from starting from nothing to literally billions of dollars in sales, to building brands. And what I can do is teach you through my experience that you can take to save you time, money, and have more fun. Be super.
Welcome to the Obsessed Show. I'm Jeff Sinelli, and I've got my good friend here, Rick Fairless. Rick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good, but we started already go at it pre-show. And or pre-podcast, whatever we want to call this.
I think we're talked out already. We already talked about everything.
Talked out, but it's like I think we're arm wrestling. Who came first, Jeff or Rick?
Well, if you're talking about the bar, Rick came first.
I think you're right. It was a pre-Genghis Grill for me, and
yeah,
I had a piece of real estate, and a company out of California approached me to lease the real estate. They were bikers, and I'm like, let me do the bar part. And you already had this bar going, and you had, but what I remember about it, gosh, it was a couple decades ago.
Well, first let's say that the bar you're talking about is Stroker's Ice House.
Yours, yes.
My bar is Stroker's Ice House.
An institution in Dallas and maybe the world.
Yeah, on Harry Hines.
Yes.
And you came to me. It was before Genghis Grill.
Yes.
You came to me and said that you were opening a biker's dream bar downtown, and you wanted to kind of take some of the elements that I have. And basically you said, don't get mad at me. I've got this property and I got to do something with it.
Yeah. And you know what? As it turned out, it was an interesting project. And I remember you telling me those guys are like the hot rods, those bikes, those ultras. They're
right.
Fast. And it was a publicly traded company, or they did. It was a really, interesting thing in my business career. But what I remember about us versus you is I was more the yuppie biker. Okay,
right.
And these had a hot rod. You had the authentic, real Harley guys that love bikes. They're passionate about it. These were like souped up Lamborghinis and Ferraris or something, from what I remember. Is that kind of a good iteration?
Yeah. I mean, we had the true bikers, but that's been part of our success over these years. Is we have all kinds of people there.
Yeah.
So we have the hardcore bikers, but we also have
the sports celebrities.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is right around the corner from me, so we're like the official bar of Southwest Airlines, and they've kept me in business for 25 years.
That's what, like, as you're building one institution, I call it, I'm out there building hundreds of restaurants conceptually, little micro ones.
Right.
And we talked about taking yours and, growing it into multiples. But, you've always stayed one, and I think there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah, I talked in the past about maybe doing a franchise, and I remember 20 years ago a guy said, Rick, let's do a franchise in Austin. And I said, yeah, it's hard for me to have a place in Austin if I'm here in Dallas. Yeah. And he said, just think about how much money you make, and you could double it if we have a store in Austin. And without thinking, I said, I didn't open this place to make money. I didn't say, hey, I'm going to open a motorcycle shop and a bar and make a lot of money. I opened it because it was my passion.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can make money and pay my bills and pay my employees and keep my wife happy, that's all a bonus.
Rick, you're giving me goosebumps, and what am I saying is follow the goosebumps. Follow, there's passion, but there's also skill, expertise, but if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
That's right.
And I know you get to your place early in the morning, and you stay late. You're always there. You have your name on your chest, and we're, even though we're from two different mothers, we've got a lot in common. We do. And
where were you born at, Jeff?
I was born in Michigan,
okay.
Outside Detroit in Livonia, Michigan.
Right.
So, but I'm not talking about birthplace in common. I'm talking about like
no, I get you.
Our DNA, how we're wired, about how we approach brands.
It's your brand is everything, So my whole business model was do business with Rick Fairless. He's a good old boy from Irving, Texas. He's selling motorcycles. He's selling beer and hamburgers. He's just a good old boy.
You're good old boy.
That's been my marketing campaign for all these years.
And you live it. And right behind you, I asked you, we were doing a little iteration on which, and we did a bike. And personally, you went a little too far with your brand on my brand, but I love it. I mean, it's very colorful. I gave you total creativity.
You told me that I could put my logo on there, Jeff.
I know, but you're more than the logo. Your logo's the tie-dye, and I've got a tie-dye bike now. It's awesome. I mean, it's so colorful, and when people see it, it's like, man, that is really cool. Well, some good old boy did it down the street.
Yeah.
But you've done a handful of bikes for me during 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You did this one Genghis Grill bike. I'll never forget you put ape hangers on there because I said I want ape hangers. And I was going down 35, and I have a girl on the back, and all of a sudden I hit a bump. And
Was it the News Channel girl?
It wasn't Ashley Banfield, no.
Yeah,
no.
Ashley Banfield.
Hayla knows Ashley. No, Ashley, she wasn't the biker girl on the back. This was, I think, post-Ashley. Not pre-Ashley, and definitely not during Ashley. So let's get that clear.
No, that's out.
Because I'm very serial in my monogamous relationships. But I was going down 35, and boom, I hit a bump, and the ape hangers are down here. The girl's on the back squeezing me. I'm like going like from 50 to the side of the road like this, and it was like I was done.
But all you have to do is push them back up.
Yeah, because they're mobile. Like
they will. They'll move around on you a little bit. That's part of that's part of the allure of it.
I left the bike on the side of the road. I called one of the guys that worked for me. I said, get it over to Strokers, give it to Rick, let him get rid of it. I am done. So that was really my last real motorcycle outside of some mini bikes and some light bikes that I've been around. But
right.
Whew, my heart was racing just thinking of that. But you ride a lot. Let's talk about.
I'm fixing to go. Herschel Walker is a good friend.
I've met Herschel.
Herschel's a great guy, and. So Kyle Petty does his charity ride every year, and this is the 27th year, I think, or the 28th year, and it's 125 people on the ride, and each one of them are paying a ton of money to ride in it. So I always go as a guest of Herschel, because I have a bunch of Herschel's bikes, so we get Herschel's bikes ready. I get one ready for him, one for his brother, one for a couple of his buddies. And so he always invites me to come as his guest. And so I've gone 3 or 4 times, and they didn't do it for 2 years because of COVID. And then last year, Herschel was messing around with politics.
Oh, yeah.
So this year he called me, he said, hey, you want to go on the ride? And I said, hey, are you done fooling around with politics? So that ride is in about a month. So it starts and ends in Salt Lake City, so we're going to go like 1,800 miles through Nevada and Utah.
You're going to ride 1,800 miles?
Yeah.
I ride 1.8. I don't think I've ever rode. Wow.
From your house to my shop, is that what it is, 1.8?
It's probably 2 miles, maybe, between 2 and 3, but that's a long ride for me. So.
Well, but you're on a motorcycle built for that. You're on a motorcycle with a radio and a fairing and bags and all that. And I have that bike, my cartoon bike. If you Google Rick Fairless and you hit the cartoon bike or whatever.
Is that the bike you're taking on this ride?
Yeah, that's the bike I'll take on the ride.
The one that's in the showroom right now?
Yeah, right when you walk in.
It says do not touch?
That one. So, but I only ride that thing once a year, twice a year. Yeah, that's it right there. So I only ride it when I'm going on a long trip. And I've taken it on the Kyle Petty charity ride 3 years or 4 years.
I think part of me riding, and I in tennis I do the same thing. I grip too hard. Okay.
Well, you're too nervous.
I don't have this relaxed type of. I need to get a little bit. I don't know if it's nervous. It's just like. It's not that. Am I scared? I'm not scared on the tennis court. There's something about me just hanging on for dear life. Whether
tense.
Tense. I'm very tense. I'm tight. I'm not loose. And you're very loose.
You got to be loose. If you're going to ride a motorcycle, you're riding it for enjoyment, And when I'm on a motorcycle, you're not thinking of anything else. You're thinking about the ride, and your mind can go to places, but it's usually to happy places.
Yeah.
Because you feel good and you're enjoying the ride and you're away from your obligations, and so it's kind of an escape.
I used to run, and that was kind of like my escape.
Yeah.
Because my mind is constantly thinking about business, like how to better which, or what we can do with this brand or do that or new business. I'm just like, I love it. I love the game of business. Let's talk about corporate offices.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more corporate. Your office is your life. I mean, it's like this, like Studio 54, Stephen Rabal. You go into this room, and then through this maze, there's this, and then you walk into this big shop with hundreds of bikes, and then here's the apparel, and here's Rick's secret office, and knickknacks all over the place. I mean, but it's you. It's branded. What would you tell somebody that's in business what their office is like, or how do you see offices?
Well, your office should be an extension of you. You know, your office should be someplace where you can get creative. You know, so if you surround yourself with creative things or things that make you happy, you know, so your office should be your happy place, not, oh my God, I got to go to the office today, and you get in there and it's, you know, you want your office to be your safe place, your happy place.
Well, yeah, and what about the people that work for you? If it's your happy place, how do you make it the happy place for them? Because if it's all about you, you're like,
well,
what's in it for them?
Well, what's in it for them is they're hopefully passionate about the business too. So, you know, I mean, the motorcycle industry and the bar industry is not the highest paid industry out there. But like when you work in a bar, you should be happy doing it. If you're a bartender or whatever, I mean, you're doing it because you like to talk to people,
sure,
kind of deal. And if you're working in my motorcycle shop, it's because you like motorcycles. You're an enthusiast, you know. And a lot of my guys will say, "Hey, boss, can I come up on my day off and work on my personal bike?" You know, yeah,
it's
that's
a lifestyle.
okay.
Because we're talking about a place of work, not only for you, your office,
right,
your institution. It's about you, but it's also about the people that work there. Here's the other thing, and I can speak to, because we've done business. We've done motorcycles. You've done custom branded vehicles for our businesses. The people that work for you get engaged in the project, and I can feel that. Okay,
yep.
They care about whether it's their bike, my bike, whatever. They love what they do, and they care about it. And I think that's one of the things why I keep going back to you, not only as a friend, but as like, I can count on you. And I know the projects, there's some caring about it. You know, even if I ask you to change out like a little fender or something, you're like, we're going to do it right, and we're going to take care of you.
Yep, no, and that's the whole thing is my people love doing that kind of stuff. I mean, the guy that changed out the fender and all that, he went online and he Googled all this, and he's going to the Honda website, and he's figuring all this stuff out. They love doing that stuff.
Yeah, it's but it's like, if you think about it, it's really deep, because we're trusting in you, your brand, your people, to put us on the road and put us on the road safely.
Yeah, but that's what we do. I mean, you sell sandwiches, and we do that.
And people trust us to make that sandwich safe through our distribution, through, you know, our training and everything, and consistency. There's when you give a product, whether it's a service or a product of food, and you're in the restaurant business too.
I keep wanting to pick this pencil up right here. I keep trying to
just
grab
imagine
that pencil.
It'll pick up. But it's like there's a lot of trust in brands. They, you know, when they see you, they trust you. When they see a Witch, I believe they trust us to make them happy.
That's because you've built a brand and I've built a brand. You know, and we all know some brands that have been built that you think of and you think, oh my God, I don't want to go in that place. Or, you know, there's always those kind of places where the branding hasn't been good.
Well, it can be one experience that can
it can be
you for
one
life.
experience.
You know, I talk about my wife Courtney, who, you know, we don't go to Chipotle or Chipotle, whatever however you want to pronounce it, because she had one bad experience. Yeah. You know, it was one of the fastest growing restaurant chains. Apparently, she wanted one taco, and they offered her 3. She said, I only wanted 1, and that tainted her forever. We go to a different Starbucks that's further away from our house, because the team at that Starbucks is slow, they don't care as much, and, you know, we're willing to go further for the same cup of coffee or tea in the same brand, because the team can make a difference. So it's delicate work shepherding brands.
You know, when I try to tell my employees about a place that I think has done a good job on branding and especially on training, is In-N-Out.
Oh, yeah.
In-N-Out they are so well trained there. When you go in, they are the nicest, friendliest, fastest, and it's just expertly run, and it's just to me it's a cool place to go eat there.
It's one of the things I talk about often that I admire because they have added literally nothing except for maybe hot chocolate.
Right.
And they don't change. And they don't run limited time offerings. They don't go after the new shiny food object.
No.
They don't have bacon. They don't do chicken sandwiches. They don't need to. You know why? Because they build loyalty and legacy, and they keep going.
Yep.
And the uniform doesn't change. I think one of the reasons for their success, and I've been studying it as a customer and as a student of business, they don't change. And because humans, I love change, but most humans don't. Customers don't like change, most customers. And that's one of the problems with a lot of brands. They keep spinning their wheels, looking for change, chasing the new trends. In-N-Out doesn't, and they've had hyper success.
Yeah. No, it has. I mean, when you go in there, you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to be treated right, and it's just, are their burgers good? Yeah. Are they that much better than anybody else? No, but they're good. They're good,
consistent.
They're solid, and they're consistent. And they have what? Burgers, fries,
They have
milkshakes.
milkshakes and sodas.
That's it.
Yeah. And then they have a secret menu, and they have a cult following, but
They do.
their boxes don't look that much different than, their stores. I mean, it is a really, really, just study. Now they do have like T-shirts and apparel that, the people love In-N-Out.
Right.
And especially from California.
Well, they have a cult following.
Yeah.
Especially in California.
Remember when they first came to Texas, there was the Whataburgers, and people were like,
Right.
that's not there's that tension. But you know what? They're here, and they just played that steady road. And I think they're going to Nashville right now. They're not in a hurry to expand. Strategically, they do it because they're commissary-based. They're just, Rick, I'm glad you brought them up, from branding. Their uniforms, they wear like all white. They got this clip, these hats. I mean, it's like
red and white. So since you brought up Whataburger, that's to me, that's a company on the opposite end of In-N-Out. I don't eat Whataburger because every time I eat there, the service is terrible. You have to wait in line forever, and I know they have a cult following too. And they started in Galveston, I think, or Corpus. Maybe Corpus is where they started. And I've been to the original one. I've never been impressed. When you go there, the service is not good. The food is good. Service is not good. The places are not clean, and I just can't stand to eat at Whataburger.
when you compare In-N-Out to Whataburger,
No comparison.
I mean, you can start to see how great In-N-Out is.
Absolutely.
I mean, just like, because if you didn't know any better and you grew up in Texas, you would like, yeah, Whataburger's great. But here's this disciplined, doesn't change, still has the same, the double and fries. It's just, maybe best in class in the restaurant business.
I think so.
I don't know if there's a better restaurant chain. The Hillstone Group and Hillstones for fine dining does a nice job, but these guys are so tight. And
all of their stores are family owned, right? They don't do franchises, I don't think.
Nope, it's still the same family, the Snyder family.
And there's no freezers anywhere on the place. They open up like a meat plant or whatever, and they put all their stores within 20 miles or 30 miles or whatever it is. And then when they go to a place, they're going to put all the stores they can put, and then that's it.
Yeah. They're not. They could do breakfast. They don't do breakfast.
No.
They just the discipline.
Burgers and fries and milkshakes and Cokes.
And Coke. And they don't change.
They don't change.
They could, another soft drink could come in there and replace it.
No.
There's no reason to change. The grass isn't greener. I call this the set it and forget it. Another company out there, I don't know if you eat there, it's Raising Cane's. Todd Graves, very same format.
Is it?
Doesn't.
I've never been inside one. I like their food, but I've never been inside one.
He doesn't change. There's a good buddy of mine, Clay Dover, worked for Todd as president, and he would come over to my house and cry at night, saying, "You won't let me do sandwiches or salads." I'm like, Clay, it's one love. That's the way he's doing it. And
Yeah.
he's had hyper success. He's going to be a billionaire in the chicken business because he said it and forgot it. And it's like, it's, I'm trying to do some of that discipline in some of the new brands that we're doing. We're going to set it, build that loyalty and that legacy, and forget it.
Right.
There's a lot of work if you're always chasing the next trend or ingredient.
So answer me this, Batman.
Batman. All right, then what are you if I'm Batman?
Robin.
All right, boy wonder.
What about that Chick-fil-A? What's the big deal with that? I mean, when they first
That
opened,
Chick-fil-A. That Chick-fil-A.
When they-
the one that's closed on Sundays.
that one.
Yeah.
When they first opened, I was a manager of the paint store in Irving, and at night I worked at J.C. Penney's. I ran the sporting goods department. We sold guns and knives, and this was before they made this big push with this company called Nike when they came in and took over everything. So
company called
they
Nike.
opened a Chick-fil-A, and the first day it was open, it was there in the Irving Mall. I went in there and I said, little girl said, "Can I help you, sir?" And I said, "Yeah, I want one of those Chick-fil-A sandwiches." She said, "It's pronounced Chick-fil-A." And I said, "Well, it's spelled Chick-fil-A." What's the cult following for that thing? I mean, it's okay. It's nothing special, but you're waiting in the drive-through for an hour to get a chicken sandwich with a couple of pickles on it?
All right, hold up.
I don't
hold
get
up
it.
there. Hold up there, Robin. Okay. What was Robin? He was.
He wore green.
I know, but there was Adam West
and
Adam West was Batman.
yeah, and Robin was
Bruce Wayne.
Robin was oh heck, I know his name. Google it, Ian.
Burt Ward.
Burt Ward, yeah. Burt
Ward.
Ward was Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're asking about Chick-fil-A, another company of excellence, okay? But here's one thing that maybe we should talk about, because I'm a founder, you're a founder, the Snyder families are founders, Todd Graves was a founder, the Cathy family are founders. Now, they do licensing and some sort of franchise, very limited, but when you have a founder and you have that discipline, Chick-fil-A started, it was originally called the Dwarf House, and they made the original chicken sandwich, or so they say. And it was just very consistent. They had a nice breading and a secret brine, whatever, the secret of the Chick-fil-A sandwich, everything, 2 pickles, the bun. And it just really became iconic.
Right.
And I think during the formative years, they didn't change. Now they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They can do anything that they want. And they just launched a veggie cauliflower sandwich that we're watching. But what is it with that how do you say it? Filla?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
So, but I mean, it was just a good chicken sandwich place, and then in the last 10 years, it's like gotten so popular. What has changed? Nothing, and that's why it is, I guess.
I think part of it is some of the great companies have real discipline. They're closed on Sundays, and if you were to analyze that, if they were to open on Sundays, would they have that much success? They'd probably capture a lot of business.
Right.
But the fact that, man, they work real hard and take a day off, whether it's for religious reasons, break, whatever, it's like it works. And I think that's the secret of success is real discipline.
Well,
Look, you're disciplined. You show up at 3 o'clock like every morning at work. Oh, shoot, I missed it by an hour.
2 o'clock.
Well, when do you sleep? And by the way, you just said you worked 2 jobs. You're at the paint store, and then you're at J.C. Penney's.
Yeah.
I think this is like, when you're obsessed, and by the way, the name of the show is called Obsessed. You're obsessed with work. You love doing things.
But it's things that challenge your mind. It's things, did I need to work at J.C. Penney's? No. But I got a job there because they sold shotguns. I mean, it was a sporting goods store. We sold shotguns and we sold pocket knives, and I was the guy that drilled the bowling ball. You want to come in? You want a bowling ball? I measured you.
You drilled bowling balls?
I drilled the bowling balls while you waited. And then all of a sudden we started getting all these running clothes and these shoes, and they said we're discontinuing the guns and we're discontinuing the bowling balls and the knives. And I said, why? What are all these Nikes that are coming in? What is all that? And it's same thing. They said it's called Nike. And I said, so are we still a sporting goods department? Yeah. Well, how come you don't sell shotguns no more?
Rick, I sense a little bit about Nike that you're like, it's not that, it sounds like Nike.
No, I do.
Okay.
How can you not like what's the guy's Phil Knight?
Right.
How can you not like what that guy's done?
Well, let's talk about footwear right now, because I believe if you walk in someone's shoes, you understand them. And the shoes you walk in are actually owned by Nike.
I know.
Yeah. They weren't at one time.
No, they
but
weren't.
because at JCPenney's, they started selling more Nike shoes than shotguns. Now they bought the shoes that you wear. Let's talk about, because you have multiple pairs of these. Tell us why you wear this, because it's part of your brand. Your brand. Your
part of my
personal
brand is I wear Chuck Taylor high tops.
Okay.
Not low tops.
All right.
Not Vans. Chuck Taylor high tops. And so they have a custom package. You know, you can order, So you can order custom stuff on them or whatever, or I'll get some white ones and have my guy tie-dye them for me.
You got a tie-dye guy.
I got a tie-dye guy.
How many people have a tie-dye guy? People have raw milk dealers. Rick's got a tie-dye guy.
I got a tie-dye guy, yeah.
You know,
he's an old deadhead is what he is, but he's great.
I've been to 4 dead shows.
You have? I haven't been to any.
I got in one, and I spent the parking lot for the other 3, and that's another story for another day.
Probably not a story with your daughter in the room would be my guess.
Yeah, let's just say it was a trip.
Long string trip.
Maybe short and smiley papers.
There you go. There you go.
All right, let's get back to the Converse.
Yep. So I probably have 200 pair of Chuck Taylor Converse.
That's less than 1 per day per year, so
I'm good.
You need a few more, but all right. But okay, high tops.
Yeah.
Some custom, some stock. You got some sparkly ones on today. Did you wear that because you were doing a show with me today? You wore your good ones, or are these your show shoes?
I would be lying if I said it's just happenstance. Yes, I put them on because I'm going to be on the show.
Yeah, because we can.
So I only wear these on special occasions, brother.
Of course, always.
You're the special occasion.
Thanks, Rick. Look, it's a special occasion. I roll up sometimes on Saturdays just to, you guys write my insurance. You have an insurance business.
I do.
You do the branding, and we may be neighbors as I may move my office next to you.
Yeah.
A couple times I was looking at that bank down the street, and I don't know, you just always been in my life for some reason.
I know.
And you're an oddball, and I'm an oddball, and we're 2 oddballs together, and you drilled bowling balls. And
I did.
It's what else? What do we want to talk about? What else, Hayla? Anything? Because we're obsessed. You asked about the rhino.
Yeah, what is that?
Okay. So I had to give a speech one time, and I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And my buddy.
Well, who were you speaking to?
I was speaking to our Witch team.
Okay.
And I have a good friend, Brian Burkhart, who works on books and speeches and produces conferences. And he was working to produce our conference that we call Leap. And he's like, you know what you're going to talk about? He goes, you. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, and you're going to talk about the yellow rhino. I said, the yellow rhino? He goes, yeah, it's a unique animal. And it's big. It's endangered.
Is there really a yellow rhino?
You're looking at him. Okay. He has a horn. Okay. He can only see 30 yards in front of him. And I said, that's like, I don't believe in business plans more than 30 days out because the world keeps changing. People used to believe in the 10-year plan, the 5-year plan. And
okay, now hold on a minute. So now you're going the opposite way of Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out. Their plan is always the same. It never changes.
The speech was like 7 or 8 years ago. But I do believe in the rhino, and he's an obsessed rhino because he's obsessed about his business. He's obsessed about his brand, and because of his anatomical structure, he cannot go in reverse or backwards. He can only go forward. He can charge. He can hurt you, but he's also a beautiful species of uniqueness. So what I do is I kind of just created this metaphor on this rhino that embodies entrepreneurship, business, uniqueness. And I think what you should do, Rick, is take that one as my gift to you. You need to name it. You need to take care of it. And you maybe need to give it to your tie-dye guy to add some more color because he's the tie-dyed rhino, not just the yellow base one. But anyways, it's like kind of the gift that we give on the Obsessed Show, because it's just that symbol of uniqueness. And you are, from what you wear, your brand, who you are, you're a friend, and more. And
I appreciate it.
I want to thank you because, I enjoy taking my kids over to your store, and they you call the dog the wrong name, and they remember it. It's like they're like, why does he call the dog Larry?
Larry, yeah.
Sky, you remember that? Look at her smile. That smile is like
that's a $1 million smile.
I know.
She's going to be a beautiful. Both your girls are going to be beautiful girls, and it's going to be terrible when the boys start calling. It's going to be terrible.
You got any of those JCPenney shotguns laying around?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, let's talk about bringing your family to work. My father brought me to work, okay? Like on Saturdays, I would look at...
And so what business?
Well, he was an entrepreneur. He was an attorney. He had nightclubs. He had his legal office.
In Michigan.
Yes, and he had sports bars, concrete business.
Yeah.
I remember him sitting there, and we had to, sort the change, for the nightclubs and, just roll the quarters and then, here's the singles, here's the fives, get the cash registers ready and, stock the liquor. He made me go out there and clean the parking lot, pick up the cigarette butts. But then I go to his law office and I see legal books, before the computer. There's just libraries of legal books. I'd open it up and I'm like, man, this is complicated. But I think just as a kid, and that's why, I try to take my children around. They see things. They see us doing this. They see Ian producing, how we work, how we do things, how we act. And she may not be looking at us, Sky over there, but you know what? She's in the moment. And I learned a lot from my father. And I'm very thankful for that because I think I'm part of the entrepreneur that I am because of what I saw and how he exposed me. No. You're doing the same for your kids.
Yeah, so my daughters both work up there for me, and they have since they were little kids. One time a few years ago, I had to, one of my daughters, I had to have her work for somebody not named Dad.
Okay.
So
to build a little character?
Build a little character and let her see that, the real world is not do what you want to and Dad will cover you.
Yeah.
You have to be responsible, and every decision you make as an employee or as an employer has repercussions to it. So you can't just go through life just knocking around and hoping things work out. You have to grab it by the throat and make it work out. That's the deal. What do you want to do with your life, and how bad do you want to do it? Whether it's weight loss or quitting smoking or owning your own business or climbing the corporate ladder, what do you want to do? How bad do you want it? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to pay the price? Because if you are, it's obtainable.
Yeah, it's part of the obsession. I wake up every day, and I think we have a choice. We can stay in bed, or we can go after it. And I woke up today, and I'm like, and I get to hang with my friend Rick, and throw down some life lessons. But working for family is tough.
It is tough.
And I like what you did. And, I'm still, I don't know if our daughter's going to work for us or they're going to do their own thing. We're going to support them the best that we can. But it's, what you said is that you made your daughter, you didn't made, or like there was because I've been around some families that have, family businesses, and they send their kids off to work for other people. And I think if you never do that, they're never going to have the appreciation of maybe something you built for legacy.
That gives them perspective.
Yeah. So
both my daughters have worked other places, and both of them chose to come back and work in the family business, which, they have a better perspective now. One of my daughters worked for a law office downtown here somewhere on like the 40th floor or something, and she liked it, but she wanted to come back home.
Well, I think they missed their daddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you hard at them because you're their boss? Like, how's that going?
Oh, if you ask them, I'm probably tougher on them than I am anybody else, but they've both been there for so long, and they both know what I want, and they know what I'll accept, and they know what I won't accept. And so I try to push them because I'm not going to be here forever. None of us are. So, it's my generation is passing the torch. The baby boomers are passing the torch to the next generation. So, they've got to learn to do things without me. And so that's the big push I have is whether, they're working there at Strokers after I'm gone or they're working back downtown here. Be smart enough to know what you want and how to go get it and, make good decisions. Because if one bad decision, the one bad decision that the guy that didn't want to give your wife one taco.
Yeah.
He could have gave her one taco. He could have gave her, okay, it's $5. So we give her one taco, give me $2. She would have said, okay, here you go.
It cost Chipotle tens of thousands of dollars because, look, I got two kids.
Courtney will never go back.
We haven't been there. I've been with Courtney over 20 years.
I'm telling you.
And we haven't been there as a family. We don't. And
one guy could have took that initiative and said, "Sell her a taco for $2."
Give it to her.
Give it to her.
It was maybe a 6-7 figure mistake, lifetime value. and the offspring, the grandchildren, and everything. It was a gazillion-dollar error on Chipotle.
And the guy that did that never thought a word about it. Never thought another thought about it.
Yeah. It's you have to have people that care.
You do.
Your daughters, everyone has to care about the brand, or they're just mailing it in. And I think there's a theory out there that when you have food made by a happy chef, it tastes better.
Yeah.
When
I believe that.
Yeah, when you're around that positive energy, and that's what I was trying to tell you about your business. I can feel that your guys care when they work on my motorcycles or do a project for me, and it's just that's. Out of anything we talk about today, I think caring is an important part of business and life.
It is, and I tell my employees, if you're anytime you're unhappy working here or you got a better gig, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, and I like when the best thing I always tell. A lot of times when we hire someone, if you ever want to make a change, just let me know.
Right.
I'd rather not be surprised, because maybe I can help you make that change.
Right.
Maybe you want to get into the motorcycle business or something. I can call my buddy Rick down the street. I have connections, I have stuff, and you're here helping my businesses, and hopefully we're mutually helping each other. I can help you after. So let's not burn bridges. But now what we're finding is like these great resignations and everything. They're like, people aren't even showing up for interviews. How's hiring in the motorcycle business?
We're trying to hire cooks, and we're trying to hire an insurance person. And especially for the cooks, we post on ZipRecruiter and Indeed and all that. We'll get 100 people apply, and we'll ask 50 of them to come in for an interview, and 50 of them say they'll come in for an interview. And me and my IT guy were talking about it yesterday. We get 1 out of 10 show up. They schedule the interview. I'll be there Tuesday at 10 o'clock. 1 out of 10 show up for the interview. It's terrible.
It wasn't like that back in the JCPenney days.
No.
You'd get 10 out of 10.
You'd get 10 out of 10.
Yeah, what's changed?
I think values have changed.
So why the values change? Is it through parenting?
I think it's through parenting. I mean, and what I'm fixing to say, let me preface it by saying
this could be good.
It could be. I'm a baby boomer, so I was born in the 50s, raised in the 60s and 70s. It was a completely different world back then. So back then, and I don't advocate doing what I'm fixing to say, and I didn't do it. But back then, if we didn't do something right or whatever, our dad spanked us.
Yeah.
He got a belt, and he took you in the bedroom, and you bent over the bed. And my dad was a big guy, and he used to just bust your butt with that belt. And you knew, and he only did a couple times, because you knew if you do this, well, Dad don't want me to do that. Well, I might do it anyway. You knew if you crossed him, you knew what you were going to get.
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger than you, so I think it started to wane down. But my
did.
grandmothers, they were, they were spanking.
It was just spanking.
And I went to a Catholic school, and in the principal's office, they had a paddle.
Yeah.
And the paddle was perforated because you knew the perforations would go through the air a little bit faster and spank. Then you have like a waffle mark on your ass.
Yeah. And that's what they did. It was called licks down here. You got licks.
Yeah.
And if you got out of line with your teacher, they sent you to the dean's office, and the dean gave you licks.
Yeah. They crack your butt.
Yeah. Now you can't do that. It's illegal to do that
now. You put a pinky on someone, and they say ow, and it doesn't hurt, and next thing you know, you got a lawyer down your back.
But what that did was, whether it was through the school or through my dad, you knew that if you got out of line, if you did something you weren't supposed to do, you knew what you were going to get. Well, and it wasn't maybe.
It was corrective behavior.
It was.
It's no different.
It worked.
You have dogs on leash. You pull the choker collar a little bit. It's corrective. You just get it. They wanted you to be a straight and disciplined person. So, it's how do you discipline someone now? If they don't show up, you can't even.
Well, I asked my guy, I said, can we, if we said it, they're doing it to get the unemployment, I guess. You have to apply for so many jobs. And I said, can we tell the unemployment, hey, this guy did not show up for interviews? My guy said, no, it doesn't do any good.
Yeah. Hey, Sky Sinelli, if you're listening, I don't know if you caught that, but back in Rick's days, in my days, You got in trouble in school. You didn't get what they called that CV or whatever they call it, a little piece of paper. You got a spanking with a wood paddle, Sky. You hear me? Okay. Maybe we should bring that back.
I don't think so.
Huh?
You know,
What's
it
old is
worked.
gold.
But you know, when we were in junior high, back then it wasn't middle school, it's called junior high, the dean of boys was pretty good, so once you got licks, he gave you a pocket knife and you got to mark a notch on his paddle.
Yeah. I'm sure you've had a few notches in that
I
paddle.
had a few notches. But after a couple of times, you learn, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's no fun getting the licks.
Not going to do that.
What else do we want to jump into? Anything? I mean, Rick, I look around and, you know, you've got loyalty over there. Sometimes I come over and I see Richard Rollins there almost every day with a Miller Lite. You know, it's like, I don't think he's there for the beer. I think he's
he and I are good buddies like me and you, and, you know, he's your neighbor.
Yeah.
And he's there a lot, usually once a week he comes over, and most of the time he brings his wife, Katerina, with him. And they're good friends, and they like to come over and drink beer. And, you know, I mean, he's kind of a public figure, so when he goes, people are always swarming him. You know, I call it the Troy Aikman syndrome, you know. But usually at Strokers, people leave him alone. You know, a few people ask for his picture or whatever, but most of the time people respect him enough, you know, and they know that, hey, this is his place where he comes to get away from all that. You know, so usually they leave him alone for the most part. But he really is a good guy, you know, and he's done a lot of TV stuff. He's done a lot of charity stuff too. So he's a good man, and I'm glad to call him a good friend. Yeah,
and some interesting projects. You know, I saw a car that he brought by, and he's picking up an old Ferrari. He's just in motion all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
no, he's always got he's spinning a bunch of plates.
Yeah, and but there's like, you never know who you're going to see down at your place. It's you know, but that's what makes it special. You know, they're just all there to have a good time and have fun, and you know, it's there's this common theme of your brand, this essence that it's you. I think they come to see you. Look, if you're not there, or Lena, or someone that is part of you, I think. But you're always there.
I'm always there.
Unless you're off on a ride.
Yeah.
Is business down when you're like when you go on this ride with Herschel and everything? Is business going to dip a little bit because you're not there?
I don't publicize that I'm not there.
Okay, we won't.
You know, so I mean, you know, people will know I'm not there, and probably the day before I'll make a post that says I'm going on the ride, and then I'll do a social media post every day that I'm gone. I'll take pictures and do things, but. No, I mean, you know, we get people there from all over the country and all over the world, you know, and when they come in there, they expect to see Rick Fairless, which works great for me because Rick Fairless doesn't like to travel.
What doesn't Rick Fairless like? What do you like and what don't you like? You don't like tattoos, although you own a tattoo parlor.
I did own a tattoo parlor. You know, my biological dad had a bunch of tattoos.
Okay.
You know, he had the stereotypical Hawaiian naked lady tattooed on his arm, you know, and my mom hated tattoos. So she always, you know, being little kids, my brother and I are 11 months apart. My brother's one of the top attorneys in the country, and my mom would preach, don't get tattoos, don't get tattoos. And then when I told her I was opening up a tattoo shop, you know, she was running my bar. She made me sign a piece of paper that said, I, Ricky Fairless, will not get a tattoo until after my mom's death. And so she carried it with her. She called it a contract. And I said, Mom, you wrote it on a guest check. She wrote it on a guest check and made me sign it. She carried that with her.
That was a contract.
It was a contract. She said, we have a contract, no tattoos. Because one time I said, I think if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl again, I'm going to get the Dallas Cowboy logo on. Oh, and she went nuts.
Yeah, look, a tattoo is a permanent mark. I think you've tattooed in other ways. Your art goes on bikes. You know, there's other ways to express images, and you've done it. You know, whether it's on clothing or on patches or bikes or on your buildings. You don't need to tattoo yourself.
No.
So
no, I mean, there's nothing out there that I would want on my body forever. I don't think. And then as we get older, which I'm experiencing now. your skin gets looser, and things that might have looked good on there 20 years ago don't look so good when you're in your 60s anymore. So thank goodness I never did any.
Yeah, well, I think about getting a tattoo almost every day.
Why?
And I go to the state fair, I get those temporary ones, and as soon as I get home, I wash it off.
Right.
It's like, but I just, because I just like, it's something that you believe in so much.
Well, then it would be your brand.
Well,
you would get your brand on there.
I think I wear it,
Then you don't need it.
I know, but I'm scared. I don't want to put, ink on my body that will go in my body because maybe it might do something to my body. But I don't, begrudge anyone for doing it. I think the people that have tattoos are some of the most interesting, committed people that I've seen, that they believed, outside of being drunk and on a Saturday night, they believed so much to give a part of their body and express something on them. I think that's deep if you really think about it.
Well, that's part of their art. That's part of how they show their art. They don't have a company where they can do their own thing, so their body is their canvas. And I have nothing against anybody that gets tattoos. And like you said, I had a tattoo shop for 10 years.
It's surprising that you, if anyone, don't have tattoos because of your surroundings, your outward, your image screams tattoos.
Right.
Does mine?
No.
No, I don't think so either. Like if I walk in with a full sleeve right here, it'd be a different Jeff.
But you would be shocked at the people that have tattoos, and you may not even know it. A lot of people have them. I'll bet you a nickel.
Okay, a nickel bet.
Nickel bet that both of these young people have tattoos. You can't stand them? You don't have any either?
Hey, we are four at a
nickel.
table here. Well, it was a nickel apiece, so you owe me a dime?
No.
Just a nickel?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take that nickel, and I'm going to maybe frame it or something. But I took that bet, Rick. You owe me a nickel.
That's very unusual that he's 24, you said, and you have no tattoos. Why?
Do you want a tattoo? He
Good.
doesn't want one. Hayla, do you want a tattoo? Hey,
but see, that's
Hey, Sky Sinelli, do you want a tattoo? All right, good girl.
Good.
Yeah, here's a little interesting thing that we know about you, or at least it's out there in the the social platforms.
The interweb.
Yeah, that thing out there before Chick-fil-A and JCPenney, and drilling bowling balls.
Chick-fil-A.
You don't drink coffee.
Never have.
Never.
When we were little kids.
Do you ever take like a sip or anything? Like
Yeah.
Sure.
So we were Sky's age. How old is Sky? She's fixing to be 11.
She'll be 11. Yeah, she'll 2
be
days.
11 tomorrow.
Or
Sunday.
Day after. Yeah, Sunday.
Okay, so when we were that age, our dad that raised us, our dad, he was a big hunter. So he would take my brother and I deer hunting, duck hunting, all that stuff. And we're not hunters, I don't want to kill anything that's not trying to kill me. So he'd take us hunting, we'd get out there, and it would be an hour before daylight, and it'd be cold outside, and we'd be in the cab of his truck, and he had that thermos, and he'd undo the deal, and he had a couple of coffee cups, and he'd pour us a cup of coffee, and he'd say, drink this, and we'd say, we call him Pop, we'd say, Pop, we don't drink coffee, and he said, drink it, men drink coffee. We'd say, yes, sir, and we'd hold it, and you'd pretend to take a sip, and then when you got out of the truck, you tossed it. I just never liked the taste of, and I tried putting cream and sugar a couple of times, but I don't drink coffee.
You have great energy because I've known you for a while. My story's similar. My mom drank 2 cups of Mr. Coffee every morning. It was dirty. It stunk. I mean, I just like, why would you do that?
What is Mr. Coffee? Like instant coffee?
No, it was Maxwell House coffee made in a Mr. Coffee maker.
With the grinds and all that?
It was pre-ground. It was like you buy this tin grocery store, and it was just dirty. The grinds, the filters.
The coffee cup was black on the inside.
It was I'm like, Mom, why would you drink that stuff? And I realized that she drank it for energy. She needed 2 cups of coffee to get going.
Right.
So I never drank coffee. I thought it was dirty, disgusting. And I was just, it's a story out there. I was coming back from an international business trip, and my buddy says, you're tired, you look like shit, have a cup of coffee. I'm like, I don't do coffee. He goes, well, shoot a shot of espresso. And the heavens opened up. I found, clarity and everything, and I wanted another one. But I realized it was a drug. That caffeine and everything can make you alert, and it does have certain properties that we believe in for supernova and beyond. But maybe one day, Rick, we can have a shot of espresso.
What is espresso?
It is just
I mean, I know it's like a concentrated coffee.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
Is it hot or cold?
either or. I tend to do it hot.
And have it in a little bit.
Little, yeah, just a little bit. It's like an ounce of coffee.
Nah, I'm out.
Come on.
I'm out.
Hey, Sky, maybe we'll bring Rick an espresso one more. What might happen is the same thing that happened to me. The heavens might open up, and you're like, "Wow!" You might get to work at 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock.
I'm so wired now. The last thing I want is, I'm and my brother is too. I'm really bad about falling asleep when I'm driving.
Okay.
So about 20 years ago, we were on a motorcycle trip, and I fall asleep on my motorcycle.
Oh boy.
And so my brother's trying to, at a gas stop, he's trying to make me drink Red Bull.
Okay.
And that's back when it was in a big can and all that. And I said, no. And he said, you're falling asleep. And I said, I'm good. So we get back on the road, and we go about 20 miles, and then he pulls into the gas station. I thought he must have to go to the bathroom or something. He goes in the gas station, and we were sitting outside. He comes out with a Red Bull, and he said, you're still falling asleep. Drink this Red Bull. And I said, I don't want it. And he shoves it in my face, and I drank about half of it. I didn't like it. But if I'm going to Sturgis and I'm driving, a long distance, I'll drink a couple of those little 5-hour, and I hate them, but it does help keep you awake.
It makes you alert, the adenosine and, just the properties of what this does chemically to your brain and your body. It works. So.
I was always afraid with Red Bull that I would get addicted to them. Do you get addicted to that stuff? Do you drink it every day? He's like the perfect son. He's 24 years old. He don't smoke or drink or do none of that. How do you discipline kids without spanking them? I mean, what I would do with my kids is I would say, okay, you're not going to have a TV. You can't watch TV. You can't spend the night with your friends for a week or whatever.
Well, you can try to take their cell phone away, but then they'll find a computer or some kind of other device and – or the cable on the TV can get to the internet. It's just like they're so plugged in and connected.
Right.
So, short of locking them in a room and, it's tough. It's I'm challenged, but that's for another topic. But let's all right. So I've got to ask you just a simple question because we talked about obsessed. If you have one, I like to say, be generous with your possessions and selfish with your obsessions. The things that you're obsessed about. Whether it's a tip in life or your cartoon motorcycle, what is one or two things that you would define as obsessed in your lifestyle that you're obsessed about?
That I'm obsessed about, or that I would tell others?
Well, that's a good point. If you tell others, I think that's one of the definitions of obsessed because you want to share this secret with others.
Well, the secret is do something you want to do. Figure out, I was talking to a kid today. There were two kids. They were from, where were they from? They were there, and I was giving them a tour. They were from Milwaukee. There were two kids. They were brothers, and I always ask them, like the old men used to ask us, how old are you? One was 13. What do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. Well, you got to go to college so you get a good start. I don't like college. And I said, you got to figure out something, whether it's trade school or something. But you got time. You're 13. And I asked the other kid, how old are you? He said, 15. I said, okay, you're getting close. I said, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to be a mechanic. And I said, okay. So you can go to a trade school or whatever. But I think the earlier you can figure out, and maybe it's not – it doesn't have to be something glamorous. When I went to work for Roach Paint Company, downtown Dallas, little known fact, Roach Paint Company in downtown Dallas, when they shut down, they sold to Glidden and they tore the plant down. On the same piece of property, they built the Perot Museum.
Right.
That's where Roach Paint was. So I went to work there at 19 because I got a DUI, and my great aunt and uncle owned it. And I'm thinking, oh, great, how long am I going to work here? I need to catch up on some bills or whatever. I'm 19. I got passionate about it. I loved it. I'm working in the warehouse. I'm pulling paint orders. Everybody pulls one. We had 30 stores. Everybody pulls one store a day. I'm going to pull two.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull two. That way I can make more money and I can move up and, wherever I was. whatever department. I always wanted to be the best at that, and I got passionate about the paint business. And so it doesn't have to be something high profile. Just do something that you enjoy to do, because I can't imagine how bad your life would be if you wake up and you think, oh my God, I don't want to go into work today. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to deal with all that. I've never had that in my life.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine somebody doing that.
You're wired, because I was listening to some of your content. Like, you would clock in before everyone else.
I did.
Then you didn't care if, then you had to monitor other people getting clocked in because you were good at clocking in. And but you're just like, when you get into something, you're like all in.
I'm in.
Like, whether it's in the paint business, anything that, you get into, you're all in. So I think that's your obsession, is to find something you want to do and go all in.
Yep.
Is there like a specific product? Like, if you were to, I'm going to give you an example. I'm obsessed with vibration. Okay.
What is it?
There's a power plate right there, that little tower right there. I believe the days that I have some kind of vibration, it just energizes like every cell in my body.
But
makes
what
me
is
lose.
that thing?
It's a power plate, and it shakes you, it vibrates you. There's different frequencies. It's the one thing. There's a couple things that, if I had to go sell something, I could sell power plate, and I'd probably be highly successful, because I believe in it.
Do you stand on that?
Stand on it, sit on it. You can touch
it. It just vibrates.
You're gonna get on it, and I'll put you on it. And the days
I'm an old man. It'll probably make me pee if I get on there.
or maybe.
Stop right there,
okay.
Jeff. Stop.
All right. But anyways, I'm obsessed about vibration, and
is that It's a product?
It's
Power play, is that what it says?
Yeah, the vibration, when they used to send astronauts up in space and they couldn't work out or have any resistance.
They still do.
Well, yeah, they used to. Yeah, they used to. And because there's no gravity, so there's no tension on the muscles, so this activates your muscles in all of them.
Okay.
So it's
it's got health benefits.
It's a medical device, certified medical device.
Okay.
I love it. Love. Every day I vibrate. Every day.
Okay.
So, but you vibrate, like, if you think about it, and I know this because I ride motorcycles, you get vibration on your motorcycles when you're riding.
Hey, guess what I'm going to name my rhino?
This drop that bomb on us. Let's go.
Larry.
Oh, Sky, did you hear that?
Hey, Sky, Larry.
Very appropriate.
That's a lot of Larrys around here.
Rick, let's put you on the power plate, but I think you vibrate. Probably one of the reasons why you do have the energy that you do,
right,
is from your vibration on your motorcycles. And
probably.
It's like a natural vibration that you don't even know that you're getting, and it probably makes you healthier than you know.
I'm gonna have to read up on that. But what I'm passionate about is riding my motorcycle. I love to, if I'm having a bad day, I love to get out and ride my motorcycle. And another thing that I'm passionate about, believe it or not, is playing golf.
I didn't see that one coming.
I know. I don't look like a golfer, but I enjoy playing golf. I played golf in high school.
Okay.
And I liked it. And I played for a long time. And then once I got married and started having kids, I'm riding motorcycles more. And none of my motorcycle buddies played golf, just my brother. And so I didn't play golf for 20 years. And I live on a golf course. And about probably 20 years ago, my brother came into town, and we went to a funeral for my uncle, and he said, hey, I'm not going home till tomorrow. Let's go play golf. And I said, I haven't played golf in 20 years. And he said, do you still have golf clubs? And I said, somewhere, yeah. And he said, let's go play. And we went and played, and I'll be danged, I got bit by that bug all over again.
Oh, boy.
Because playing golf is a lot like riding your motorcycle. When you're playing golf, you have to be thinking about what you're doing. It's like shooting pool or something. If you're in, you're all the way in. So you can't play golf and think about, oh, I got to get that bike ready. Oh, this guy's supposed to call me on. Oh, I got to get over to the paint shop. Because if you do, just go home. Get off the golf course. So the golf course is, it's 4 hours to play a game of golf. Is someplace where you can get away. I don't take days off, but I'll take 4 hours off, like once a week or once every couple of weeks to play golf. And it makes me feel, when I play golf, Halo, I feel like I'm cheating on my wife. So to justify it, because I'm not at work, even though I'll still work, I'll still work 12 hours and play golf. So the way I justify it is I walk. When I play golf, I walk. And so my buddies that I play with, 2 guys that used to work for me, they're 40. And they complain and moan and groan about having to walk, but they say, okay, he's 66, he's going to walk, I guess we'll walk too.
Yeah. Hey, you brought up one little point there. When you're away from your work in your office, I picked up a little bit of guilt, like you said, cheating on your wife.
Extreme guilt.
When I'm not here, I feel like, oh my gosh, like
you're cheating the company. You're cheating. You're a bad person. I know, and I wish it wasn't like that, but I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn it off.
You guys, if I'm not here, I actually feel like feel like I'm doing something wrong sometimes.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm working, I'm doing other work or doing something, but it's like, oh boy. You know, so it's a weird thing, and I think it gets from a founder's mentality and just.
I think it is too, but that's what makes
golfing.
us entrepreneurs.
Let's go to. How about Topgolf? Have you been to Topgolf?
Never.
Never say never. Let's go.
I like to. I actually, when they first opened one in Dallas, my buddy and I went to eat lunch somewhere, and he said, "What's this Topgolf?" And I said, "I never heard of it." And we walked in, and I noticed there's a bar and grill, a bar and grill. And then we looked out there where you could hit the golf ball and all that, and I said, somebody came up with a really cool concept. So you're going to eat, you're going to drink, you're going to whack the golf ball, and it doesn't matter if you're a golfer or not. You can still have a good time.
Yeah, it's entertainment. Hey, one thing I want to ask you, because I saw, did you really make your coffin?
2 of them, but yes.
Whoa, this is deep. All right, tell me about that path and why.
So my painter's name is Gary Queen, and he's a morbid kind of guy. He's really cool, but he's kind of morbid.
Why do you need 2 coffins, though, too? That's the other question.
The first coffin is just a prop. So I painted it up and put a mummy inside of it, and it's just a prop.
And the other one?
The other one, Gary has a painted coffin in his office or in the paint shop. And I always said, man, that's cool. One of these days. So about a couple of years ago, he said, I got you a present. And I said, what'd you get me? And he said, a coffin. And I said, really? That's cool. And he said, do you want it like it is? And I said, no, we'll paint it up. I said, let me know when you got the time, and I'll do a design, and we'll paint it all up Rick Fairless style. And so about a year ago, he painted it up, and I worked with his guys and all that. And so being the morbid guy that he is, he also has a hearse. So he brought my coffin over in a hearse. We wheeled it out, carried it in there, and I swear to God, I thought my wife was going to kill me. She was pissed. She was upset, and she's thinking that I'm thinking, okay, the end is near for Rick, and, I'm going to go ahead and line this up. That's not the case at all. I just think that they're cool. So the concession that I made to her was, I wouldn't set it out like a coffin, so we stand it up.
Okay.
It stood up in the showroom, and, some people don't notice it, and they think it looks like a Coke machine or something till you see the handrails on the side. But I have my final resting place waiting on me.
Have you given it a test drive? You lay in it?
No,
Does it fit?
No.
No? So you're not worried about the comfort yet?
No.
All right. Rick,
no, I think at that point you're not worried about it.
Yeah, but it's like that's what makes
it's the presentation. See, it's the so.
I don't want to go too far in the future, but look, we're only on Earth for a certain amount of time. I believe that if something happens to you, your celebration after is going to be very colorful, filled with tie-dyes, and it's going to be a party.
Yeah, it is, and you think, I've got written down what songs I want played and all that stuff. I have all that written down, but I believe, once I get to heaven, to the final destination, there's a lot of people waiting on me up there.
Oh my gosh!
So it's a good thing. If you go, it's a good thing.
Amen. That is like
it's too
I'm getting
deep.
Some goosebumps
We're getting
a little
too
bit.
Deep. How about those Chuck Taylors?
How about them? I mean, there's people. You got people waiting for you. Let's get you back to your day. But it's just fun to spend time with you. And,
absolutely, I appreciate it.
Talk shop, talk friendship, talk death, and more. So, Guys, we're obsessed. Rick's obsessed. And if you ever need a bowling ball drilled, I think we know where to go.
Or a motorcycle.
There you go. Thanks, Rick.
All right. Thanks, pal.